Her horse was inducted into the USDF Roemer Hall of Fame in 1997. 27 years later, we are now finally inducting gifted rider, owner, and trainer. Somehow, sadly, I feel we're a little bit late. However, having said that, we are here tonight really to celebrate all that Carol Lavell did during her lifetime and the legacy she left us with. Carol was born in 1943 in Newport, Rhode Island, where she grew up. She always had a love for horses and was a pony clubber during her early years. She graduated from Dana Hall School in Wellesley, Mass, and Vassar College with a degree in physics. Carol worked in research with a biochemistry professor and taught lab research to students at MIT. It seems that clearly Carol was no dummy. Later, while teaching high school science in Hanover, New Hampshire, Carol met another teacher, Tom Lavell, and in 1968 they were married. When Carol decided to pursue her love for horses and dressage full-time, Carol and Tom moved to Fairfax, Vermont, where she and Tom became longtime residents. Fellow New Englander Pam Goodrich recalled, "I knew Carol before she was famous, until her final days. Brilliant mind, funny, driven, strong character, typical New Englander. Give her a challenge, and she would meet it head on." Perhaps because of her experience at Camp Tellawooka, and as a summer camp counselor at Hitchin Post Farm in Stratford, Vermont, Carol began her equestrian career as an inventor. Her first famous horse was Better and Better, a thoroughbred she trained and competed through preliminary level 3-day, before selling him for Michael J. Plum to ride. Plum rode Better and Better at the 1976 Olympics as a 7-year-old and won team gold and individual silver. Carol continued to bring along more horses, including Chestnuts Are Better, The Lack, and In the Black, with whom she won the individual silver medal at the dressage in the 1987 Pan Am Games in Indiana. Carol was 41 when she purchased her most famous horse, Gifted, from Castlemans in Germany. Carol and Gifted broke barriers and kicked open the door for Americans to compete in Europe. They went on to become major rock stars of their era in American dressage. At the time, he was the most expensive horse she had ever bought, a whopping $25,000. He was an untrained 4-year-old Hanoverian gelding, and according to Carol, he didn't make a winning impression. He was unfriendly to be around, but he came from very famous bloodlines. And he came with enormous self-carriage. Pam Goodrich said, "Gifted looked like a big moving German horse. Everyone thought Gifted would be better in the hands of a male German rider. After all, Gifted was over 17'3", and Carol was 5 foot 4 inches tall." Little did they know that Gifted rode like a sensitive thoroughbred. Those who rode him, including Herbert Rabine, learned their lesson the hard way when giving strong aids to Gifted. The story goes that while Carol was discussing the horse with longtime coach Michael Poulin, Michael called the horse Gifted, and that is how he got his name. Carol trained Gifted up through the levels, winning USDF Horse of the Year at first level through Grand Prix, and as far as I know, they are the only pair ever to do that. They went on to win several AHSA USDF national championships at Grand Prix. Before he was retired in 1996, Carol and Gifted had competed at the 1990 WEG in Stockholm, where they were 11th, the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, where they were 6th individually, and led the U.S. to a bronze medal, the first Olympic medal in 16 years for the U.S. dressage team. In order to bring the bronze home, Lavell recounted, "I was the last of the riders on the second day. It came down to Gifted's ride. In the Grand Prix, I needed a test that was 100 points higher than I'd ever gotten. I came out and I rode my test. I saw the score and I realized we had won the bronze medal." Robert Dover stated, "Carol Lavell was funny, tough, and someone you knew as your teammate you could count on to fight for every single point. She was a wonderful person and left a great legacy for American dressage." At the 1994 World Equestrian Games at The Hague, they won team bronze. They competed in 2 FEI World Cup finals, once in Gothenburg and once again in Sertogenbusch. Carol retired gifted, as I said, in 1996. And speaking about Carol, Michael Poulin summed it up this way. We have very few people that can really ride and train to the Olympic level in this country. It takes somebody with that vision of dedication to sacrifice time and energy. Longtime student Beth Scruton recalls, I had the honor of spending a month or more at her home in Vermont. Wow, was it cold. Icicles formed on the horses' whiskers from their breath. We could ride a couple of horses, come in, change our long underwear, put it near the stove to dry, putting on our alternate pair, go back out and ride and repeat through the day. We rode several horses every day, either in the unheated indoor arena or out in the snow. Carol received many honors for what she accomplished during those years and for the impact she had on the national dressage scene. In 1992, both the Chronicle of the Horse and the HSA named her Equestrian of the Year. She received the prestigious USCT Whitney Stone Cup in 1993, and in 1990 and 1992, Carol was named the U.S. Olympic Committee Female Equestrian Athlete of the Year. Carol and Gifted were on magazine covers and on posters belonging to every horse-crazy dressage kid in the U.S. Carol's last international horse was Much Ado, who Carol scouted as a foal in the field in the Netherlands. He was yet another horse that she brought from training level to Grand Prix. She won team gold on the 2003 Pan American Games in Santo Domingo and was 6th individually. And Carol then retired from competition in 2008. Although a very celebrated athlete, Carol's always had a love for teaching and adored her dressage pupils and their horses. Over time, many of her pupils became like family to Carol and Tom. Carol was able to use her background as an educator and high school teacher to become a sought-after instructor and clinician. But not one to rest on the laurels. Carol never forgot the support she received to help get her to the top. She spent the latter part of her career helping others to pursue their own dressage dreams. In 2009, Carol, with friends and family, in remembrance of her mother, Mary Cadogan, and in honor of her father, Gordon Cadogan, she worked with the Dressage Foundation to establish the $25,000 Carol Lavell Advanced Dressage Prize to provide financial assistance to talented, qualified riders whose plan is to reach and excel at the elite international high-performance levels. At the time, Carol said, the road to the top is very difficult. Some ways are bumpier than others. Some are more crooked, and some are dead ends. My Olympic dream came true because my road was paved with many generous sponsors who gave not only dollars, but also tack, equipment, and even discounted transportation. I hope this prize will smooth the bumps for others deserving riders and horses on their road to their dreams. To date, the fund has awarded grants totaling more than $550,000. Laura Graves, Andrea Lyle, and Sabine Shoup-Carey are but a few who have benefited from the fund. Later seeded with donations received after the passing of Gifted in 1997, Carol created the Gifted Memorial Fund for adult amateurs. This grant enables adult amateurs to set aside quality time and concentrated training away from the daily pressures of job and family. In 2000, Carol and Tom moved from Vermont to their farm in Loxahatchee, Florida, and shortly after built a house on a mountain with a farm below in North Carolina, where they happily spent summers. Ever by her side, every step of the way, Tom passed away in 2020, and Carol died on March 27, 2023, at their home in North Carolina due to complications from Alzheimer's. Carol left 3 legacies. 1, she and Gifted left a legacy that paved a path that showed the Europeans and the world not to underestimate the Americans. That a tiny woman could pilot a behemoth horse to medals. The second legacy she left was one of inspiration. She inspired the growth of dressage and the dreams of many riders who came after her. The third legacy she left through the Dressage Foundation, a means by which some of those dreams can come true. On behalf of the USDF, I am honored to induct Carol Lavell into the Roemer USDF Hall of Fame. Accepting on behalf of Carol Lavell's friends and students is her longtime friend, Pam Goodrich.
Yeah, very short. Very short.
Do you need the microphone?
Probably not. As you know, if you don't know me, I'm known for my loud voice, not needing the microphone or the speakers. Before Carol and I became like sisters back in the late 70s, we were at a horse show, and she was riding the President George test, her first one, and I was teaching or coaching on a windy day, loudly. And the judge stood up and said, "Stop that! Stop that! This is dressage!" I stopped, and we all looked, and he was looking at me. I was mortified. I was so intimidated by Carol, and now I had to go apologize. She started the test, finished the test, won the test. But I went back to the stable and I said, quivering, "Carol, I am so sorry." She goes, "Well, I thought I was doing dressage." Anyway, he was really strong, and stopping helped, gave that half up, and he was much better after that. Typical, when I say strong-willed, funny as hell. When I say strong, we were at the sports festivals. I had a bad hip, she had a broken back. We go, we perform, she wins, I'm second. Neither one of us can get on the podium. We can't get on our horses, so she had a wooden ladder, step ladder, that was brought with her horse. I said, "Carol, can I borrow that?" Both of us had to climb up the ladder to get on our horses to do the Victor Gala. They said, "We're some kind of athletes." Thank you very much. Well deserved. Great.